Hello, and I'm back because no one demanded it. This is Dishelved with Adam White. I've been off for a good probably 3 months now. It's been a busy 3 months, and this year, 2024 so far, has kind of sucked. I haven't gotten nearly the reading done that I wanted to. It's just been kind of a crappy year so far. But on to more important things. I've read into a lot of sword and sorcery magazines, which there's surprisingly quite a few of right now. I've always loved sword and sorcery ever since I first read the Conan stories by Robert E. Howard, and I've just thought that it's just been a really good genre for me. And Fawford and the Grey Mouser by Fritz Lieber. Uh, excellent stories. Uh, and I've found that right now there's kind of a renaissance of sword and sorcery. A lot of magazines and books, a lot of collections of short stories. Excuse me. And it's also bringing back the short story form too, which I like because it's nice to sit down and just read a quick story and enjoy it, and then read another one and enjoy it, and it's uh, it's nice to have short stories to read because most fantasy is like 900-page books that have like 8 to 15 volumes, and it takes forever to get through them. And so it's nice to have some short stories to go through, and you can just read and come back to as you want. And anyway, let's get on to the stories. The first one I read on my Kindle, and I don't have a picture of it, but it's called Old Moon Quarterly. I read number 6, which is the newest one that just came out not that long ago at the end of last year. And it was like kind of focused on the undead, and I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of different stories in there. Uh, I read it a while back, so it's not as fresh in my mind, but there was some good stories in it, and like I said, it comes out quarterly, and there's 5 more issues before, and I plan on reading those as well because I really enjoyed number 6. But Old Moon Quarterly, you can check out their website, and you can get all their issues on Amazon for your Kindle for cheap. They're like $2.99. It's well worth it. And it was a good read, and a short read, but good nonetheless. Now, next, I read Tales from the Magician's Skull. I actually read issue 0 and issue 1. This is number 6. I don't have the first issues in print. I have a few issues in print you can still get on Amazon. Uh, if you search for Tales from the Magician's Skull, uh, most of them you have to get now in digital format. I got them from Drive Through RPG, and I got all the issues I didn't have. There's 11 issues total. I have about, I think, 4 or 5 of them in print, and the rest of them I've got digitally. And the zero issue had a the editor for the series is Howard Andrew Jones, and he puts in short stories of his Hanover characters, and they're just excellent stories. I can't wait to read his books. I think it was like God of a Shattered Land or something like that. Michael K. Vaughan has talked about both of his books at length, So you can check out his videos on those, Howard Andrew Jones. And I really enjoyed his Hand of Our stories. There was one in number 0 and there was one in number 1. Both of them were excellent. All the other stories in it were a lot of fun. This issue I just picked because it's got a great Fawford and the Grey Mouser cover by Doug Kovacs. I really enjoy his art. This one has a Fawford and the Grey Mouser story that's authorized by the estate of Frederick Lieber and or Fritz Lieber, I think. I can't remember. I'm getting so mixed up. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to reading that. I still am reading on the original Fawford and the Grey Mouser stories, and I really enjoy those. Really classic sword and sorcery. Tales from the Magician's Skull comes from Goodman Games, who also publishes the Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG, which I really am enjoying. I'm reading on that book right now. It's a really fun system. Doug Kovacs does a lot of the art, especially for the covers and stuff, and it's a fantastic RPG. But they make Tales from the Magician's Skull also. There's 11 issues so far. I hope there's going to be more. Like I said, I'm reading them. I've read 0 and 1 right now, and I've read part of this one, number 6, and I think I've read some on one of the other ones too. But I've got all 11. Like I said, you can get them digitally on Drive-Thru RPG is the easiest and cheapest way to get them. And Tales from the Magician's Skull, really good. They've got lots of stuff in it. They do some game stats for some of the things you see in the stories, and that's really cool to add. And anyway, just really good stories in this, especially the Howard Andrew Jones ones. And like I said, he's the editor as well, so you know you're going to get quality stuff from Tales from the Magician's Skull. Now, the next one I read was New Edge Sword and Sorcery. This is issue 0. You can get it on Amazon for $3.99, which is a great price for what you're getting in this. And they have come out with issue 1 and 2 since then. You can get through their website at New Edge Sword and Sorcery. Just search that on Google and you'll come up with their website. I will say I had a little trouble ordering to get those first 2 issues, but the key is, I think, to create an account first, and then if you have an account, then it fixes the problem that's there to let you order. So you can get issues 1 and 2 for $7 a piece. I recommend them. Really good stuff. And they're crowdfunding right now. I think on BackerKit, issues 3 and 4. It's going to have a new Jarrell of Joyery story that's authorized by C.L. Moore's estate. So I'm looking forward to that. And this one just had a lot of great stuff in it. It's got Curse of the Horsetail Banner was a good story. Let's see, The Vapors of Zanai was a good one. I remember being exceptionally good. There's also lots of nonfiction. There's The Origin of New Edge by Howard Andrew Jones. He has a hand in this one too, so you know it's going to be quality. There's a story on C.L. Moore and the Jarrell of Joyery. That's a really good nonfiction article. There's some interviews, and it has both sword and sorcery stories, and it has nonfiction that talks about the genre, and just really entertaining, really good stuff. So New Edge Sword and Sorcery, look it up. It's very good. I really, really enjoyed it. Now, next, we're back to my Kindle, which I read Savage Realms Monthly. I think there's maybe, I think actually about 26 of them. I think I've got it. I'm following my stuff here. Yes, there's 26 issues so far of Savage Realms Monthly, and it's done in the pulp style. You can get them for $2.99 each on Amazon through the Kindle, which is what I did. And I read the first one, and it was just really a lot of fun. Um, it had a lot of good stories in it. I don't have them in front of me to tell you what they are, but um, it just it was good like the other ones. Like I said, I've read them all in a row, and so they kind of all run together a little bit because I read so much at once. But I do remember enjoying all of these stories. Uh, there was one or two stories that didn't seem too much like Sword and Sorcery, and so I questioned their inclusion in the books. But that's not to say they weren't good stories. They were. It's just one I read reminded me of something like from the Sandman comic, and was really different from the Sword and Sorcery you usually get. You have some that are kind of Conan pastiches, but are actually entertaining, and just lots of good stories on this Savage Realms Monthly, and you can go. They've got a website too. Uh, it's a really good magazine. If you like Sword and Sorcery, you're going to like it. Another one I read on my iPad was called Whetstone. There's currently 8 issues of it. It's a Sword and Sorcery magazine. Now, the bad thing about it is that I read in the introduction to number 8 that they were going to go on hiatus and not make one for a while, which really upsets me because it's an amateur publication, and it has exclusively Sword and Sorcery stories, and they were really good. And it's a completely free magazine. You download the PDF, just go to Whetstone Magazine on Google and search it, and you can get all 8 of their issues completely free. And I really enjoyed it. I read number 8, which is the newest one, and like I said, sadly, the last one for a while. But there was some really good stories in there, just from newer authors that haven't found an outlet otherwise. And I especially enjoyed. Let me go see if I can get back to my. Yeah, I enjoyed especially The Warrior of Gold by Robert Webb, and The Court of the Eyeless King by B. Harlan Crawford. And I also read a story in number 4 by Chase A. Fulmer, who Chase A. Fulmer and B. Harlan Crawford have short novels out that have their characters from the stories in them. Now, B. Harlan Crawford has one called Sigyn of Asgard. There's 2 volumes so far. I got the first one. I haven't read it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it because I really enjoyed his short story in Whetstone. And so this Sigyn of Asgard sounds really cool. I'm really looking forward to reading it. And Chase A. Fulmer has one called Frolic on the Amaranthan, and it actually deals with his characters that were in Whetstone #4. And I read that story just this morning and really enjoyed it. And so I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm looking forward to reading that short novel. It's just over 100 pages, but I'm really looking forward to that because I really enjoyed his short story in Whetstone. But I thought Whetstone was really fantastic for being an amateur publication. And it just, I mean, there wasn't, I mean, you'd think, and usually in those kind of things, you get typos or stories that were kind of lame, but I really enjoyed them. And I didn't see any kind of typos or anything like that. Uh, it was a really good, solid publication. And like I said, you can get all 8 issues for free on their website in PDF. And I'd highly recommend doing it. I mean, you can't beat free. The New Edge Sword and Sorcery, if you go to their website, you can get the 0 issue free as a download, as a PDF, and a couple other versions too. I just usually go with PDF because it's the easiest to deal with. And you can actually get their 0 issue for free there. And they have issues 1 and 2 out as well, that you can purchase there, which I would recommend. Very good. So again, just to go over the ones I did: Old Moon Quarterly, good one. Far as I know, it's continuing on. This #6 came out, I think, in December. From the Magician's Skull. There's 11 issues so far of it. Like I said, some you can still get on Amazon in print, but mostly the easiest way is just to get them on PDF on a drive-through RPG. New Edge Sword and Sorcery. I just talked about that. Whetstone, like I said, all of them free. Download them for free. Really entertaining reads. I read #8 and part of #4 for this. Savage Realms Monthly. There's 26 issues so far of it. It looks like it's coming out steadily and keeping a monthly schedule, which is really cool for a Sword and Sorcery magazine. Something else that I didn't get to read yet, but it's called Swords and Sorceries, Tale of Heroic Fantasy. They're books, but they're books of short stories. And I've got a couple of those downloaded on my Kindle already. They're not too expensive. I think they're like $4 and something, and some of them may be even cheaper than that. But they're Sword and Sorcery anthologies, and from what I've heard, they're really good. So they're coming up next on my reading schedule here. I'm really looking forward to those. Everything I've read so far has been really good, and it's really nice to see, like I said, this kind of renaissance for Sword and Sorcery. I also want to mention some of the classics. Obviously, Robert E. Howard and Conan, C.L. Moore and Jarrell Joyery. Highly recommend those. Howard Andrew Jones is a newer author. He did some Pathfinder books that were really good. I enjoyed those a lot. And like I said, his Hanovar series, I've read some of the short stories for it, and I've got the books downloaded, and I'm looking forward to reading those. He's a really good writer. Just excellent. Another Sword and Sorcery I'd like to mention is Michael J. Sullivan, his Rhaenyra Chronicles, or Revelations. I'm sorry, Rhaenyra Revelations. Uh, there's an original trilogy, and then there's like, I think, 4 more books so far. And then there's a prequel series as well. And Michael J. Sullivan, is an awesome author. Really enjoy his work. I can't highly recommend it enough. Really good stuff. So check out Michael J. Sullivan. You can get books from his website autographed, which I've got like his whole set of books autographed from him directly. So I'd recommend that method because I like autographs, but um, it's his rare revelations are just excellent, excellent stories. And I would consider them sword and sorcery and something of a new chapter in those, kind of like Howard Andrew Jones. They're carrying the torch for sword and sorcery. And then, like I said, those new authors, B. Harlan Crawford, I read and Chase Fulmer. I read both of those in the Whetstone, which is, like I said, that amateur publication. Uh, and I really enjoyed them, and I'm looking forward to reading their books. But all in all, really good stuff. Really good time for sword and sorcery. It's been overlooked, I think, for a long time. And to see so much material out right now is a really awesome thing because sword and sorcery is really cool and it's a really great genre, maybe my favorite. And to see so many publications out that deal with sword and sorcery, and I'm sure there's probably some that I've missed, but these are the ones that I've found so far, and I've really enjoyed them all, and you can't go wrong with any of them. Uh, like I said, most of them you can get either on Amazon for your Kindle or from their direct websites. And I really recommend checking these out. If you like fantasy at all, you can get in, read a short story, and come back to it later. Or you can sit and read them straight through like I did. But anyway, sword and sorcery, really cool, really good stuff. And I really can't recommend it enough. And don't forget the classics like Fritz Lieber and Robert E. Howard and C.L. Moore. Uh, you definitely don't want to forget them because those are really great stories too, and that's really what kicked off the genre of sword and sorcery. Uh, I would also consider, I would say, Beowulf's sword and sorcery if you want to go way back, because I don't know. I think there's an argument to be made there that Beowulf is sword and sorcery, and maybe one of the first. So you might check that out. I remember really, really enjoying it. And of course, there's hundreds of translations of it, and you can probably get it for free on Kindle. I think I've got one of those, I can't remember what they're called, but the editions that have all the essays and stuff with them that you get like in college. And I've got a version that way, and I've got a couple other versions lying around too. But I'm thinking about reading it again too, just because it was so good. And again, kind of a origin of sword and sorcery. Uh, anyway, I've talked on well long enough about this. It's been a while since I've done a video, so hopefully I didn't mess this up too bad. Uh, I really enjoyed all these stories. I'll put in the notes the names of all the magazines so that you can see what they are. And thank you for hanging out with me. I hope to make more videos in the future. I'd like to make at least one a month. Like I said, it's been kind of a crappy year so far and lots of bad things going on. And so I haven't gotten to it until now. But I really, really enjoyed these stories, all these magazines. And I think you will too if you like fantasy at all. And if you like sword and sorcery, then you can't do any better than that. So thank you for hanging out with me. I hope to see you again before too long. And I will see you next time, whenever that may be.